Pegasus weekend is almost upon us. Not one, but two Pegasus races this year. We'll start off with the Pegasus Turf, a $7 million race, and move to the Pegasus Dirt, the $9 million race. And you know the best way to play the Pegasus races, oh yeah, it's to play it through NYRA-Bets. If you are not a member of NYRA-Bets, bet 200, get 200. New member bonus. Use promo code WINNER200. Enjoy the many great things that we have to offer at NYRA-Bets. We'll be offering special hit and splits on all of the stake races on Pegasus Day, including the two Pegasus races. We'll start out talking about the new race, the Turf. Post position, not a major factor. Is it a mile and 3/16, a distance they don't run there that frequently? They start at the top of the stretch, so there's plenty of time to get over, unlike the dirt race. The Europeans, though, did draw towards the inside, and we'll start by talking about, I should say, European and the horse from the Far East, but the European is Magic Wand, going out for Aidan O'Brien. And Magic Wand was last seen running fourth in our Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf behind potential champion Sister Charlie. She finished second in this race behind Wild Illusion, who was a narrowly beaten second in the Breeders' Cup, actually. Magic Wand, she is a player on talent in this race. I think the big question with her, is a mile and 3/16 a little short for her best race, but also Coolmore doesn't have a habit of running these horses at this time of the year. So is she a horse that is being pointed for this race because it's a big purse and they're taking a shot, or is she really training up for it? And I think that's a major question. I'm sure they'd like to win it, but I'm going to stay on the fence with her, and I prefer others in this race. The major unknown is Aerolithe, going out from Japan. And Aerolithe, obviously a very talented filly. This is her finishing, I believe, second in the Yasuda Kinnan, a Grade 1 back in June of 2018. And she seemed to get a good trip coming between horse in this race to finish second. She followed up with a Grade 2 win 4 months later in October. Her last race in November, though, was an unusually poor performance. She's finishing 12th, beaten just under 4 lengths in the field of 18 at 4-1 in the Grade 1 Mile Championship. She is obviously a very talented mare. On the other hand, I don't really know how to rate her against the horses that she's running against here. And while she's 8-1 on the line, and I wouldn't have any problem if somebody wanted to take a flyer with it 8-1, and frankly, I would prefer her over Magic Wand, I feel like they're sort of taking a shot. We'll see what happens with her. And in general, I want to stick to more known commodities. Bill Mott has a strong hand of known commodities here. Now, we will show you Yoshida winning a Grade 1 in the dirt. But he's also a Grade 1 winner on the turf, and he's reunited with an old foe, Bricks and Mortar, who he beat twice, and he lost to, actually, once. They're hooking up for their first matchup in over a year. This is Yoshida winning the Grade 1 Woodward on the dirt, and he's obviously a very talented horse, and he ran a very respectable fourth in the Breeders' Cup Classic in his last start. He took advantage of a collapsing pace in here. I'm not way against Yoshida. I think he absolutely belongs in this race. He's not my top choice. I don't really feel like taking a short price on anybody in this race, but Yoshida was good last year. He didn't run particularly well in the 4-star Dave, but maybe there was too much give in the ground for him, but he handled the give in the ground at Churchill Downs. We'll see. You can't knock his performances in the recent dirt races. As you know, or you may know, I'm a big fan of Channel Maker, the other Bill Mott runner in this race. We'll show you Channel Maker winning on a soft turf in the Joe Hirsch and running a very, very big race. He also took advantage on racing on that very fresh inside ground, far and away the best part of the course. But he was good all year, and Bill Mott had always shown a lot of confidence in this runner. It's interesting, though, with Channel Maker, is he a horse that, like Magic Wand, wants more distance because his better performances came in the long-distance races. But the truth is, there's an argument that he could have won our Manhattan at a 1.25 miles at Belmont Park, which is only a 16th of a mile longer than this race, and he had a tough trip in there, and he actually had some trouble in behind Yoshida in the Turf Classic at California. He's going to be a much bigger price than Yoshida, and I don't know why he doesn't have every bit as good a chance to win this race, and I think Channel Maker is very usable at a square price. Catapult may be one of the choices in this race, coming in for trainer John Sadler from California, along with Accelerate, who's one of the contenders for Horse of the Year and the favorite in the Pegasus Dirt. Catapult has really improved. I mean, Catapult was a useful runner when he ran the East Coast for Chad Brown, but he did very well shipping out to California. And he did actually win, he won the Eddie Reed at Del Mar at a 1.1 miles. But it does feel, and we're looking at his second-place finish in the Breeders' Cup, and he ran very well in the Breeders' Cup. I would not knock him at all in that race. I just wonder if he's really a horse that's going to get better with more distance. And while maybe some of the others you think, do they really want to go farther? I don't know if he wants to go this far, and I'd rather have a horse that wants a little more distance than a horse that wants a little less distance. And at a short price, I think Catapult is going to have his hands full in this race. Bricks and Mortar. I am thrilled to see Bricks and Mortar back. He was a terrific 3-year-old before an injury, put him on the sidelines for well over a year. He comes back for trainer Chad Brown after that long layoff and runs very well and very fast, earning a 102 Beyer speed figure in running down Mr. Cub at Gulfstream. He's training well for this race, and I think he had some real excuses when he finished behind Yoshida in both the Saranac and the Hill Prince, and he, of course, beat that one when they met in the Hall of Fame. I think Bricks and Mortar is going to be a fair enough price in this race. I think he may be every bit as good, if not better, than anybody in here, and he is ultimately going to be my choice. Of the others in here, next shares, I think he's probably a little bit better going shorter, and I don't know if he's good enough, though he did overcome a tougher trip to win the San Gabriel last time against Lesser. Delta Prince, to me, wants less distance, and I think his best form is behind him. My 4 choices here, Bricks and Mortar on top of the 2 Bill Mott runners, the bigger price Channel Maker over Yoshida, and I'll have the Japanese runner Aerolite in there in what is a fun running of the $7 million Pegasus Turf. But let's turn our attention to the big one. They're on the dirt for the $9 million Pegasus World Cup Invitational. And it's a very interesting matchup because you've got 2 major Breeders' Cup winners in Accelerate and City of Light, and horses that have met twice last year. And while Accelerate got the best of them at 1.25 miles out in California, City of Light beat Accelerate when they met at Oaklawn Park at 1.125 miles. But let's start off by looking at the Breeders' Cup Classic and taking a look at Accelerate beating Gunnevera. And I'm going to tell you, Accelerate ran well in this race. He was 3 wide, basically the whole way around the track. He was not right on top of the pace, but he was close enough to pace, making that first move, and he was best. I will say, though, if you look at his Beyer speed figures for his last 2 efforts, the 105 in the Breeders' Cup and the 100 in the Awesome again, this is not necessarily the Accelerate we were seeing running big figures early in the year. And while John Sadler effectively did well shipping to Kentucky for the Breeders' Cup races with both he and Catapult, he's not a trainer that's had a lot of success shipping. And I don't want to just assume that suddenly we're supposed to take all of his shippers. And I am dubious of Accelerate running his best race in here. Obviously, if he does, he is the horse to beat. But I'm going to tell you, I think City of Light is going to give him all he wants in this race. And if you want to say which horse ran the better race in the Breeders' Cup, I think it probably was City of Light. And he's beating Seeking the Soul, he's beating Bravazzo, and Bravazzo came back with a hanging second-place finish in the Clark, but he ran okay that day. And I think Seeking the Soul probably wants a little less distance to be competitive with these, but I like City of Light. I think they're going to be moving early, but he's the fastest of the speeds. And I believe that Javier Castellano is going to do the exact same thing that he did in the Breeders' Cup. He's going to put City of Light in the lead, and he's going to play Come and Catch Me. And I don't know that they're ever going to catch City of Light. I actually prefer him in this race. Now, post position, always a very big factor in the Pegasus on the dirt. And pattern recognition, who we'll take a look at here, winning the cigar, he is a terrible victim of post. Whatever chance he may have had in this race has been completely and totally obliterated by the post that he drew. Now, he's fortunate that a few horses inside of him have no speed, but then he's going to get to True Timber, and he's going to get to Tom's D'Etat and Accelerate, and City of Light, and even Bravazzo on the inside, and the amount of work that the terrific and improving pattern recognition at top of his game now as a 6-year-old, the amount of work he's going to have to do to get in position early, in my opinion, is likely to leave him sapped at the end of this race, especially trying to negotiate 2 turns and 1.125 miles for the first time. True Timber surprised me last time. He's a neat horse, but I question him at the distance as well, and I think pattern recognition was a bad victim of post. A real wild card in this race is Tom's D'Etat. Tom's D'Etat looked like he might be able to challenge Gunrunner when he ran a huge 106 Beyer, winning by 9 lengths up in Saratoga in 2017. A leg injury put him on the sidelines for well over a year. He was gone for just over 15 months. But he's come back, and he's come back terrifically for trainer Al Stahl. And here he is winning the Tenacious down at Fairgrounds last time out. And he's a horse that has the speed to put himself in the game, but he has the ability to rate well off horses, as he did in the Tenacious. And he has also run fast figs in the past. And I think he is a very interesting wild card in this race, and he is absolutely going to be on my tickets. as is Gunnavera, who I really didn't get into in the Classic, who got a great ride in the Classic and finished second in there with Irad Ortiz, but I think he's the best closer in this race, and I think he must be used as well, especially if, like me, you're going to take a chance against Accelerate. And then there's Audible, who's a real darling. People love Audible. Now, this is him losing, in all fairness, on a very sloppy track where they had gotten an enormous amount of rain before the race. It's a total sea of mud, and he had a bit of a wide trip, but he got an 82 buyer and lost to a horse he never should have lost to. But to be fair, he ran 4 straight 99 buyers in his prior races. The problem is, a 99 buyer is not getting it done here. And a lot of those figures were earned getting absolutely perfect trips under perfect circumstances. Wicked pace in the Florida Derby that collapsed. He beat Hofburg. How did Hofburg do subsequent to that? The Cherokee Run said, well, the Derby, he's the only horse that closed into a wicked pace, and he's still not running bigger figures, and he's coming off of a subpar effort, rain or not. And he draws post 10. I just think that Tom's D'Etat and Gunnavera are better closer types than him and more talented horses. And to me, Audible's a horse that always just takes too much money. City of Light over Gunnavera, Tom's D'Etat, and I've got Accelerate fourth. I'm not taking a major stand. Accelerate can't win this race, but as the favorite of the 2 shorter-priced horses, I think City of Light is the more dangerous one and the better bet at a better price. And the best way to play all these things is to play them through NYRABets. Head on over to NYRABets.com. If you are not a member, bet 200, get 200. New member bonus, promo code WINTER200. And you can play all of the stake races and earn point bonuses throughout the day. Head to NYRABets.com for more information. Enjoy this year's 2 Pegasus races.